Good evening and welcome to Ghana Shot. Today we're going to talk about the Syrian Googly. Day before yesterday, I was just not prepared to speak on Syria, and today I'm speaking on it. How things change. That's a Googly, isn't it? Similarly, what's happened in Syria is a top class Googly, and a lot of people are going to get their apple carts upset. A lot of nations are in that run where things are going to be happening differently. Well, uh, if you look back, Syria has always been in problem. What's so special about it, right? And that's where I got, if you see this is the thing. Everyone gunning for the other chap. We don't know who's the villain here, who's the hero there. And this is an old one. This is a time when ISIS was ruling Syria, or rather had put its footprint on Syria. And we'll talk of it. No one knows what's happening. Does anyone know what's happening now? I don't think so. Because certain things have come out, which is there, but a lot of other things are, the ripples are far and wide here. Unlike last time the focus was on ISIS. This time, I think many more. So, but let me make a wild try at it. Because I sat the whole day yesterday and today going over various aspects of the Syrian Googly. That's the best word I could get to it. Okay. So let's start. You have to understand, from 1948 to 2024 till date, or maybe month two, the Israel-Arab conflicts, they've had about 1 lakh casualties. Gaza, Lebanon, all go back, all their wars, everything. The Syrian civil war, it started in 2011 till date, 13 years, 6 lakhs. 6 lakh people have died. If you go, and this is also a conservative estimate, if you go into the social media, this goes up to 7 lakhs. A countless number of people have been displaced. A lot of migration has taken place. And this is not now, right from 2011-12. When we talk of, a lot of migration into Europe and all that, is this. People talk of Islamization of Europe. This is the problem. People have gone from here. Palestine, same. So this has been a major problem in the world for the best part of this century. In fact, it was for a large part of last century also. But we need to understand this country better. Look at it. It's a very fertile country in the Mediterranean, right? And it's got oil, it's got gas, and gas is still untapped. Phosphates, very rich, and being a Mediterranean country, it's very fertile, a lot of agriculture. Have a look at this, what shall I say, this map here. And what do you see? You see that it's to the north is Turkey, to the south is Saudi Arabia, and to the east is Iran. Now, these three power players are all around it, and Syria is in the center with access to the Mediterranean. Very important. In fact, it's the only Arab country which has good access to the Mediterranean. Right? It has always been geopolitically important. as against today. So let me go a bit into the Syrian history and things like that, so that we understand this story better, and then see what's happening today. Strategically, Syria is located at the crossroads of Asia, Europe, and Africa. It's got a good connect to Europe through the Mediterranean. It's part of the East, West Asia, and down south to Africa. Uh, the Mediterranean Sea gives it access to all maritime trade routes. It has been a key player in the Middle Eastern politics, being an Arab state. But it has always had conflicts with its neighbors, whether it call it Israel or Lebanon or Turkey. And all these three shape the regional dynamics. We've heard of it. After all, you'll have a look at it. We are looking at Lebanon and Turkey and Israel, its three neighbors. It's had tremendous conflicts. Not new, right? There are huge international interests in Syria. Russia, US, Iran have tremendous vested interests in Syria. But if you go back to the Ottoman time, in UK, France, colonial powers had interest in Syria just because of its location. Who can forget the days of the Hejaz railway starting from Aleppo going down further, and Lawrence of Arabia and things like that, right? Actually, my knowledge of Syria dates to those days when I used to read about Second World War and the Ottoman Empire, and that's the First World War, and Lawrence of Arabia and things like that. But things have changed. But you learn about that country. It's got tremendous energy resources. It's not a major oil producer, but its location, energy resources, and its gas. Gas is quite a bit. But then there are a lot of humanitarian concerns, like I told you. There's been a perpetual humanitarian crisis in this place for the past 20 years. Problems, and problems. But then why do people hang around here and all that, and all this civil war, things like that? So that you have to understand the religious, structure of Syria. 74% of the population, which is the orange one, is Sunni Muslim. 11% is Alawite Shia Muslims, and they rule this country. Bashar al-Assad and his father Hafiz al-Assad, both Shiites. You have to see the contrast. Syria is a country, Sunni Muslims, majority, ruled by Shiites. Neighboring Iraq is a Shia dominated. For a long time, it was ruled by a Sunni minority, Saddam Hussein. Now, of course, things have changed. So, this contrast you'll find. Besides this, there are Orthodox Christians, Druze, Roman Catholics, and atheists and others. Kurdish, all that. Okay. Now, what are the population distribution? See this green one? This is all Sunni Muslims. You see this yellow? They're all Alawites. Damascus is in a Sunni area ruled by Shiites. Okay. And you look at this area, which is all Hashad, this is all these Kurdish areas. The Kurd problem spans not only Syria, it also spills into Turkey, and it also spills into Iran and Iraq. All three. In fact, all four. Okay. And then you have Christians here, you have a whole lot of people. And this white are all Arab Bedouins, desert. And these all fundamentally are all Sunnis. Though they're Bedouin, Sunnis. So you have this kind of a spread, in Syria. So this is the imbalance, whatever you call it. Okay, go into the background because understanding the background of Syria is important. I'm tracing it from 58. Before that, I'm not going to go into what it was before First World War, Second World War. 58. Interestingly, Egypt and Syria. Egypt is in the African subcontinent, and Syria is here, West Asia. They form the United Arab Republic. There's this constant search to form a government or a state together. Egypt wanted to become, once they were moved so that Sudan and Egypt became one country. Then Egypt and Libya also wanted to be one country at some point of time. So Egypt has this had this constant urge to form a United Arab Republic, which is strong. Okay, and there's no geographical connect between the two except through Israel, and probably the port connect, Mediterranean connect, was the logic behind the whole thing. But in 1963, Ba'athist army officers seized power in a coup. And they continued. There was a whole lot of chaos and everything. 1970, Hafez al-Assad, the present Bashar al-Assad's father, he overthrew the prime minister then and in a coup and took the power. In 1973, Syria goes to war with Israel and invades through the Golan Heights, along with others. Yom Kippur War. Okay, but it doesn't, retake the Golan Heights, which was lost actually in 67. Okay. Now, 1980, after the Yom Kippur War finished, all that. 1980, the Iran-Iraq war, takes off, and Syria backs Iran, Shiite, against Iraq, Sunni. So you'll see this constant thing if you go to the history, this Shia-Sunni problem coming up. In 87, I'm marking 87 because even before that, when Lebanon went into problems, because Lebanon is a multicultural country, whatever is there in terms of ethnic distribution in the western part of Syria, the same thing is mirrored in Lebanon to a larger extent. Lebanon went into tailspin, and Lebanon went into tailspin in the 70s. Continued. 87, Assad, this chap's father, Bashir's father, Hafez al-Assad, he sent his troops, Syrian army, into Lebanon. And then he enforced a ceasefire between the warring factions in Beirut. Sometime after that, the Hezbollah started coming up. Now, in 1982, the Muslim Brotherhood came into Syria and started an uprising. So, from 1982 onward, you see this problem. Whereas Syria has always had problems of internal strife, no balance. But Muslim Brotherhood, largely a Sunni thing, they started an uprising, put down with brute force. Okay, now come 2002, US officials, rather George Bush, called it as part of the axis of evil. Along with Iran. 2007, these people also had nuclear ambitions. Syria is a very unsettled state with a lot of issues. So Israel carried out a strike against them and destroyed the nuclear site. So you see this tortured background. It's never been settled after the Ottoman Empire broke up. Now, 2011, the Arab Spring hits Africa and the Sahel. It spreads to Egypt, spreads to Syria. Initially, there were demonstrations. Now, they were met by a massacre by Hafez al-Assad, Iron Hand, and it descends into a civil war. Assad used chemical weapons, nerve gas, in 2013 against the rebels. It's gory. After the Iran-Iraq war, if there was one instance where chemical weapons were used, it's in Syria, repeatedly. 2014, ISIL comes and takes over a large part of Syria. And Syria was actually split into many parts. This is a thing. Who controls what? You look at this is all this color controlled by ISIS. This by Syrian government. Then rebel groups were this thing. So Syria at that time was split into parts. But Hafez al-Assad, with the help of Iran, Russia, and Lebanon, Hezbollah, by then Hezbollah becomes strong, held on to this area. And I will come to that in terms sequentially. Okay. Now in 2015, Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah, like I said, entered the conflict. They helped Damascus or Assad. Now 2017, again chemical weapons were used by Assad against rebels. And this time the USA got into the act. And they hammered the, Syrian forces with about 17 or 18 cruise missiles. Right. 2018, again US, UK, France, they launched airstrikes to destroy all the chemical weapon factories. That's a pretty serious thing. 2019, 1 year, right? Turkey launches an offensive into the north in the Kurdish areas, in the northeast Syria. And by then, ISIL goes for a toss. Okay, 20, Turkey and Russia backed Syrian government came into direct confrontation. Russia backed Syria and Turkey, they fought. They were bitter fights. Then ceasefire and everything, it went into somnolence. So 2020 onwards, you're looking at COVID and everyone forgot about Syria. But Syria still never remained the same state. It had its pockets where the government didn't run for the past 4 years. For the past 4 years, complete focus of the world was on, in fact, I wouldn't say for the past 4 years, for the past 1 year, was on Israel, Gaza, Hezbollah, Houthis, Iran. And before that, we were looking at the Abraham Accords, peace was to reign, and the IMEC was to start, and things like that. Now in 2024, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams, they launch a new offensive in the north. And this happened 4 days back. And this is where we are. So you see, this is strife. This whole country has been in strife. Ever since I can remember. I remember reading about Hafiz al-Assad and his antics. Uh, when I was appearing for my promotion exams, when I was captain and a major. But at that time, Syria had a voice in the Arab League. In between, it was kicked out. I think about 2-3 years back, it was admitted back. A lot of to and fro. Okay. We've seen this. Now let's come to the present structure. What's happening now? You've seen the background. Everything is 3 days, 4 days back. I think 29th or 28th, this thing, November. So there's a attack from the north, and they take Aleppo. Okay, this is Aleppo. Aleppo is the Bombay of Syria, the financial center. Why Aleppo? I mean, not why did it. What's Aleppo all about? Remember, Aleppo was a strong center in the Ottoman times, where part of Turkey, the Turkish empire came up almost here, and it was a thriving financial center with roads going down. Everything had to go through Aleppo. And Aleppo, Idlib, Tartus, this is all part of the Mediterranean coast and very fertile. Right? So Aleppo is the second largest city in Syria. So Hayat al-Tahrir Shams, they launch an offensive. It was followed by other forces. So let's understand that story now. Okay. But before I go to that story, look at these two, arrows I put. Okay. One is Tartus. What is Tartus? Tartus is the naval base here. There's a naval base of Russia here. Russia got into the act in 2017, 18, 19 to enforce peace. It was part of the coalition which dismantled the rebel forces and ISIS. And in this place called Jable, at a place called Kemiam, Russia has got an air base also. And I'll come to this Tartus and this base a little later. Okay. Now, who controls what? Offensive ho gaya. This red part is all controlled by the Damascus, or rather by the government forces. But though it is given as a huge part, a large part here, where I'm showing my thing, is all desert land. It means nothing. This area, which is important, is now by this Tahrir al-Shams. This, gray, violet, what do you call it? Okay, is by Turkish-backed rebels. So Turkey has got into the story. Okay, this is by Kurds. This yellow region. Okay, and the Islamic State also has some pockets here in between, and others also have pockets here. But mainly, it is the Syrian government forces versus Hayat al-Tahrir Shams and the Turkish-backed forces. And the Kurds also have got into action. Now to come against them, Iran-backed militia from Iraq, that is from here, they are coming to rescue Damascus. And US has struck them. They don't want Iran to come. And the logical news is that it is, the USA which has instigated this whole thing. Okay. So let us look at this. It's a very nice thing. I don't know if you people have seen. If you've not seen, have a look at this. This is the idiot's guide. I mean, in so much is happening, you really don't know who's where, So I found this on Twitter. This is the best way the idiot's guide to the Syrian civil war factions. Pro-Assad. Okay? Pro-Assad forces are Russia, which is a long-time ally of Syria. It supported for Assad for arms sales and testing and training. And it has a base there. IRGC. Now, IRGC has trained militia in Syria. And IRGC has used Syria as a conduit for weapons. From Iran to Iraq, through the militias which it backed in Iraq, to Damascus, onto Hezbollah, and further from Hezbollah to Gaza. Then, of course, Iran is there and Hezbollah. This is one side. Forget about Tulsi Gabbard and all, because this is again by a chap, American, who's against Trump and all. So forget that part of the story. Now, who's on the right? Hayat Tahrir al-Shams. It's an Islamic militia, and it is currently making gains in Aleppo. It has taken over Aleppo. It has gone down further to Hama, and last heard it is somewhere in the outskirt of a place called Homs. Now, what's the background of these fellows? Now, these fellows, HTS, is an Al-Qaeda affiliate. Okay. To some extent, it fought against ISIS. At some times, it fought with ISIS. Right. Now he says, this HTS chief, a chap called Juvlani, he says, I'm no more part of Al-Qaeda. But what has happened? He's taken. I will come to the analysis. Just understand the lineup. Then you have a thing called Huras al-Din, which is Al-Qaeda affiliated. And it is a anti-ISIS group. Then you have Syrian Democratic Forces, which are Kurdish. And those people are US backed. US has always been backing Kurds. Then there's something called Free Syrian Army. And these are loose rebel groups whose loyalty is not known. Okay. And then there's a Syrian National Army, which is again Turkish based, which is fighting from the north. I showed you that. Yeah. Syrian National Army is here. HTS is here. Kurdish people are here. The Iraqi militia is coming from here, Iran back, to assist Damascus. And the story is here. This is Homs. This is where those people have come from the north. Okay. Now the next question is, which all of you will ask, yaar, pura itna kuch ho raha hai. So why has this gentleman, this is General Shankar, taken this stupid subject? Very logical. Why Syria? You don't understand Syria, you will not understand what's going on everywhere. Actually, people never forgot about the civil war which was going on, except one lot, USA. USA has instigated this whole story. That's my reading. People might say, no. USA has probably instigated this whole story and put Syria into a problem once again. Or rather, started this story. So, let's see who gets what out of it. The first, Iran, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. Let's see what's the outcome for these fellows. Firstly, there's a power struggle between these three who will rule the Muslim world. Everyone wants his cake, that I'm the greatest Muslim in this. Okay. Saudi Arabia wants Assad out because he's a Shiite. Somehow they want to put a Sunni guy in so that their reach till there goes. इसमें एक चीज मैंने डाला नहीं, वो कतर है. No, Qatar is also playing a game. I will come to that a little later. In fact, Qatar wanted to put a oil pipeline through Syria. Qatar and Saudi Arabia wanted to put an oil pipeline through Syria, which Assad said no. They want to put an oil pipeline through Syria to the Mediterranean and take it to Europe. Assad said no. So that's another reason why, Qatar and Saudi Arabia want a friendly government there and they want to unseat Assad. You see, the moment that happens, the pipelines can go through Jordan to Mediterranean. But Iran doesn't want it. Iran wants its power in this whole story. So Iran, through Iraqi militia and Damascus, it has been supporting Assad. Through that, it has been supporting Hezbollah. Through Hezbollah, it has been fingering Israel. We know that. And of course, Gaza. That is Hamas. So that axis, that chain, Iran wants to re-establish it because it's now broken. Turkey sees an opportunity to reassert its might. Look, hum bhi to hai. And it has had a very fractious relationship with Russia. Now it sees Russia sitting in Tartus and Jable with the air base and the naval base. Till such time that fellow is there, Russian is there, the Turkish people can't have their influence. But if tomorrow Damascus falls and a Sunni regime comes, Russia has to vacate. And then Turkey will come into the Turks will come into the equation. In any case, Turkey wants to do something against the Kurds because the Kurds no one wants. So there's a tussle between these three, which is happening with outcomes in Syria. Okay, is that all? No. Let's look at Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran-backed militia, all this. And of course, Israel. What has happened in the Israel war? I mean, why has this happened? This has happened because HTS and all these fellows sensed that Hezbollah had gone weak, Iran had gone weak, ye hamara mauka hai. They've taken advantage of, they've perceived weakness in Iran and Hezbollah. Hezbollah we know is broken. Okay, Iran has gone chup after the retaliatory strike by Israel. We might have any conjecture we want, but those fellows on ground know this is an opportunity. So they must have been sounding USA, wo and all that. So USA said, chalo. So now the moment you go in, so you break in the link between Iran, Iraq, Syria and Lebanon, or rather Hezbollah. And Israel also will get into the act. Israel has also started acting. I think they have done some firing, pouring and all that. Unko to sona pe suhaga hai Israel. Because whatever is happening here, Israel benefits. Because Hezbollah can't recover now. Till such time this action is going on, Hezbollah can't recover. Until such time this action is going on, Iran is involved in Syria. Hezbollah is not able to help. Turkey has come. So now Assad is in pain. So the Hezbollah and Israel peace treaty are better off. If that is happening, Hamas also can't recover. So it leaves Israel in a pole position. And do you think Russia could have done this? Possible. Not Russia. Do you think USA could have done this? I said yes, highly possible. Okay. So you see this whole story. This is the inner wheel. I call this the inner wheel of Syria. Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel, Lebanon. Inner wheel around Syria. All of them have their interests in keeping Syria destabilized or supporting it. If Israel had its way, it will never allow any more stability in Damascus. And I think they'll do that. You'll see it unfolding. Now, Israel, it gives Israel a chance to strike a peace deal with Hamas to free their hostages. It also gives a chance for Israel to talk with the Lebanese army and bottle up Hezbollah. Okay. And it also gives USA a chance to give a shut up call to Iran. Why I'm talking USA to shut up call to Iran is that ever since the new Iranian president has come, Peshkiyan or Peshkisyan, he wants to reach out to the West and come to an understanding. But he can't lose Syria. So he's also. But Iran is definitely weakened today. It cannot impose itself. So that gives USA a chance to strike a deal or at least something with Iran. How Trump will behave, we don't know. I don't know. But that will. But there's an opening which is created. Now you have a deal with Iran and do something, whatever. Whether the deal is overt, covert, we don't know. It breaks the cricks which you're talking of. China, Russia, Korea, all that. So that nonsense goes. Until such time this story is alive, we'll come to China. China also has a hand in all this story. I'll come to China. Now, everyone thought that Saudi Arabia and Iran के बीच में समझौता हो गया. Here goes that समझौता, because now they are competing. Saudi Arabia will be completely backing USA in this whole story because it serves Saudi Arabia's purpose. Okay, so you see this whole story. Now, if Syria goes down like this, be rest assured this IMEC will restart. That's to our advantage. I mean, it might be gory, but I'm talking of a realistic way of looking at things. This is an opportunity, window of opportunity, which has been created. So the regional landscape is changing. Okay. Now let's look at the larger picture, the outer wheel. The outer wheel is very, very, very clear. USA is back. Everyone said USA can decline ho gaya, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya. Bakwas. People don't know what they're talking. You see, USA has become the sutradhar of this area. Everyone will now run to USA to get their whatever. This one trick, whether they've done it by purpose or incidentally, that STS or the Turkish-backed rebels or except SNA, that Kurdish rebel group, they really don't have USA's backing. They might go tomorrow against USA. Yet USA is supporting them today. And Israel also will support them completely. Right? So Israel might do a double trick. They might go and tell Syria, okay, we'll support you and throw the rebels out, but you will not let Iran come in. All possibilities are opening up. But overall, USA is calling the shots here. What's happening to Russia? Russia has invested in this area. Why? Please look here. You see, this is Lebanon. Have a look at this map a little closer. You'll understand. Okay. Russia has like I told you, we've got a port here and an air base here. Why does Russia want a port here? I mean, why does Russia want a naval base at Jable or Tartus? Because Tartus is a port. Besides the cold water ports, okay, in the Black Sea and the North Seas, right, or the Baltics. This is the only warm water port of Russia. This is the only warm water port of Russia in the Mediterranean. And as long as it controls this part, it will have a say in everything which is going from the Gulf to Europe. And that's why it supports Damascus or that Bashar al-Assad. It has been. In fact, it's been a big player. And with Iran. So Iran, Hezbollah and Russia have been backing Bashar al-Assad. Right? Influence. Main influence. Along with it, Iraq. Iraq, after all, is a lot of Iranian Shia militias are there. Or Iran-backed Shia militia. So it had kept. Now, Russia's position is in a problem. Now, the moment Russia's is in a problem here, Russia has to decide what it wants to do in Ukraine. That's why I put UKR, for you to understand. Will it prosecute the war in Ukraine or respond here? For all you know, USA has created this opening here because it's two birds with one stone. Israel and Ukraine. If Russia loses out from here at the expense of Ukraine, it had lost its influence, which it fought quite a bit to get this foothold here. You know, outside Mother Russia, this is the only base they have. So Russia has got a major problem in this whole story. It's at risk. If it fights here, then it's weak at Ukraine. Remember, Russian situation economically is not as good as it is made out. Nor is their military situation as good as the information ops it is embarked on. Putin comes and says, I have this, I have that, I'll do this, there's no defense and all that. Take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, and I showed you last time. The central bank, director general, whoever CEO of in Moscow, says that there are problems and ruble has fallen. If you see, I believe the ruble has gone down. It's taken a tonk. So Russia is an issue. France has an interest. You know, the Frenchman's nose will go everywhere. It has always had an interest in this region. So whatever is the outcome, France will, try to pick the threads up. And remember, France had a tremendous interest in this entire region. It still has. Now China. China is the interesting part. China, Russia, Iran, Hezbollah. This is where the link comes out. Why has China been against Israel and with Hezbollah and Russia and Iran comes here? In fact, let me show the next one, then only you'll understand. Look at this. Last year, Hafez al-Assad, or not Hafez al-Assad, I keep confusing. Bashar Assad, this fellow, he was taken to China for the Asian Games, Hangzhou Asian Games, by a special plane, Air China plane. Have a look at it, Air China. Air China. Xi Jinping sent a special plane for him, and he was feted in that Olympics. and it was shown as a great achievement last year. Why? It was shown as a great achievement that China has achieved hell of a lot. China is the player in the Middle East, which is, ruling the Middle East. It had brought about the peace process between Iran and Saudi Arabia. It is now getting into Syria through, Putin, and Xi Jinping held a special reception for Bashar Assad. And after the games, he was dropped back in Damascus by Air China. And he was told, we'll be there, give you loans, you're part of the BRI. We'll take care of reconstruction, everything. He was offered the moon. So he also took the moon and went back. He said, हाँ जब ठीक हो जाएगा सब हो जाएगा, but ठीक क्या हुआ? वो हमस ने कुछ और कर दिया. So if you see now with this flip, which is what has happened, Russia has lost interest completely. I wouldn't say interest, its influence is gone. It will take a long time for this whole story to come back. I showed you that Googly, which was, in the beginning, everyone has a gun to the other chap's head. I mean, we've heard of Russian roulette, but this is Syrian roulette. So, what's going to happen? That's the $1 million question. In my way of looking at it, nothing much. This will continue. So, outcomes kya hai? I've spoken a lot for the past 40 minutes. What are the outcomes? Look at it. USA in pole position. Israel, next beneficiary. It is in a position, Israel has got an opportunity to settle its problems. How much it will settle is not the thing. That problem will come back. But at least it can sue for peace. Okay. Iran is losing its grip. Hezbollah might not recover. If it doesn't get oxygen from Iran, they'll not recover. And if you notice in the past 2 weeks, these Houthis have also started keeping quiet. Russia is in the horns of a dilemma. What is it to do up and down? China is out of the picture. It will do its economic, all that nonsense. But more than that, Tenga. So this is what it is. Will this continue? Definitely it will continue. Don't think that there's any peace and all. I'm not even looking at a peace solution. Will Assad fail? Possible or not. Will terrorism continue there? Definitely. Will we keep hearing news about it? 100%. Will I do another podcast on it? I'll not. Till such time something dramatic happens. Of course, if something dramatic happens, I'll come back and tell you. But it's a bugger's muddle, if there was one. Right? So, this is what I had to say. I do hope you people have liked this video. I've taken you all around the countryside, right? And tried to put across and tell you what is what. At times, you might have felt that ye to kuch aur hi bol raha hai. But the situation is like that. This is the situation. You have to understand. Even if I unravel everything for you, you'll not understand it. Well, I also keep forgetting it. In the number of cross connections out there are tremendous. Anyway, this is what it is. Today I was to do something on the firepower. I'm not doing it. I'll do it tomorrow. Right. Before I take questions, I wanted to tell all of you that I'm going to start a series on command in the army, women, and all that. And day after tomorrow, I'm going to start this thing on women in command, because that's come into thing. People have been giving nonsense in newspapers. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has been giving his opinion. So we'll discuss what is command, what is women in command, what is leadership in command, and what is leadership in the army all about. We have vague ideas about what it is. I'll go into it. Maybe I'll take about 6-7 episodes of that. And I would like your feedback if you want me to do this thing on army, command, women, leadership, and all, or not. You can give me in comments. I'll be grateful. Your feedback will be valuable to me. And I'll put a question on this. I'll get your opinion in the thing. Right. With this, thanks a lot once again for watching this. I'll take on questions now. Yeah.